Hey, what's up guys? Devin Hughes here with eXp Realty. Today's video is brought to you by a ton of multiple offer situations. I'm going to talk to you about 5 things you can do to compete against other offers on a home that you really want to buy. The first thing shouldn't come as a surprise because I talk about it in basically every video I do, is to be pre-approved. Don't confuse pre-approval with pre-qualification because they are different things. Pre-qualification is when you talk to a lender and you tell them things, so they're going off of what you've told them. Pre-approval happens after you actually send them documents proving the things that you say. So after they verify those, then they issue you a pre-approval letter. And that's actually something you need to submit an offer on pretty much any house now. No seller is even looking at offers from buyers that aren't already pre-approved. The second thing is save cash. If you think you're going to be buying a home anytime in the near future, then you need to save as much cash as you can. I know there are a lot of programs out there and a lot of loan options that require a low down payment, but you still have to consider all the closing costs. And sellers are not going to pay those closing costs for you if there is competition for their home. If you submit an offer asking for any closing cost assistance, then that offer is immediately put on the bottom of the pile. There are some situations where you can get into a home without having a lot of cash on hand. The easiest way to do that is basically with new construction because they have their own lender that they use. So basically they'll offer you some form of closing cost assistance, whether that be $8,000 to $15,000, it really depends on the builder. But they'll do that under the condition that you use their preferred lender. With these lenders, sometimes you'll get some inflated interest rates that may not make sense in the long term, but in the short term, because you might be strapped for cash, it could make sense. And then after a year, you can refinance and get a better interest rate. But bottom line is if you want options, save cash. And speaking of saving cash, the third thing that you can do to make your offer more competitive in a multiple offer situation is to provide a larger earnest money deposit. Now, for those that don't know, earnest money is a deposit you make into an escrow account that goes toward anything at the end that you have to bring cash to the table for. But its purpose is it puts some skin in the game for you. So the seller knows you're not just going around putting offers on everything you find. It's basically their collateral, so that if you back out without any justification, granted there are some reasons that you can back out and get your earnest money back, but if you back out just because and you're not in one of those periods where you can, then they have the right to hold on to that money for themselves. And then aside from the earnest money deposit, the bigger of a down payment you can make, the more competitive your offer is going to look. Now I know that a lot of you that watch my videos are all about the VA loan because you have the right to use that. And I would never recommend not using your VA loan. But what you can do is put a down payment with a VA loan, because not only will that make your offer look more competitive, it also reduces the funding fee that comes with it. And I discussed the funding fee in a prior video that I did about VA loans specifically. I just hinted towards certain periods in the contract where you can back out and get your earnest money deposit back. One of those periods is the inspection timeframe. How long this lasts depends on the negotiation going into the contract, which brings me to the fourth way you can make your offer more competitive. When you reduce the time frame and the overall number of contingencies in the contract, the seller views that more favorably because it is more security to them. One of those contingencies is the inspection. And the inspection contingency is very important, especially if you're looking for a place that you're going to be using as your primary residence. Now, if you're an investor looking for a home that needs some work or as a complete gut job, then maybe it's not as important to you and you can waive that contingency altogether. But for the normal buyer that's looking for a house to live in, always have your inspection done. Even on a new construction home, definitely get the inspection done. But what you can do is reduce the amount of time that contingency lasts. In the contract, its default is 15 days. So anything you can bring it below that is going to make it more attractive. 10 days is good, 7 days is better if you can get an appointment in that period of time. Another contingency that you can waive if you have the finances to back it up and this is the house that you want to live in is the appraisal contingency. The appraisal contingency essentially says that if the home doesn't appraise for the contract price, then you can renegotiate it and bring it down to the appraised value But if the seller doesn't want to do that and you can't negotiate a price that makes sense to both of you, then you have the option to back out of the contract altogether and get your earnest money deposit back. Now at this point in time, you are out whatever it costs to get the inspection and the appraisal done. But if you waive this, then you are saying that you will bring the difference between what the lender's willing to let you borrow and what the contract price is. And the lender's only gonna let you borrow based on the appraised value. So if it doesn't appraise for the contract price and this has to be your house, then you have to be willing to bring that difference in cash to the closing table. And for obvious reasons, your ability and willingness to do that makes the seller feel more comfortable accepting your offer. And the fourth thing that you can do to make yourself more competitive in a multiple offer situation is something that I do for my clients anyway. And that's have your agent call the listing agent to find out any special situations that the sellers are in. Maybe they need to close at a certain time period and they need to stay in the house longer. Your willingness to close later than that typical 30-day mark may make you more attractive to them than the next offer. Before I get to the next step, if you could just do me a quick favor, hit the like button. It really helps me out, lets more people see this video and the other ones that I post. Subscribe and the bell, that way you get notified when I post more videos just like this one. The fifth thing on my list of 5 things you can do to make your offer competitive in a multiple offer situation is to have your lender call the listing agent. That way they can reassure the seller that you are capable of closing this deal based on your creditworthiness. And this actually shows some initiative because one of the things a listing agent is going to do anyway is call the lenders for any of the offers that they receive because they want to make sure that you are a fully qualified buyer. So if your lender calls them and answers all the questions they're going to ask anyway, then that actually saves them a little bit of time and makes them view your offer in a more positive light. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. So if I can leave you with anything on this, one of the major things of these 5 that you can start doing at any time is to start saving cash. Really get that savings rate up, put it away, don't even look at it until you're ready to make some moves, talk to a lender, get pre-approved. Then of course, give me a call and we'll go find you a house and you'll be more than prepared to compete against any offers that any other seller might get on their table. So I'll leave you till next week. I'll post another video just like this. And as always, let's kill it.